Greetings. Last episode, our travelers went to trade their last 50,000 credits to a group of scavs for some contraband military ship parts. The scavs jumped them instead and ambushed them, and a firefight ensued. Fortunately, the team collected their cash and got away. When they went to confront the fixer, Devin Galloway, operating in the nearby town of Carthage, they overheard a news announcement that indicated that the glorious Vesporan Revolution was impounding and impressing all independent trade ships that were currently on the planet. Our group then rushes back to Dustside and the starport to figure out if they can get to their ship, get it off the ground, and get off Vesper before their ship is confiscated by the Port Authority. So welcome to episode 2, Port Authority Blues. So we're a little bit ahead of ourselves there. Let's go to the desert. The group is going to drive back. They're still injured, if you recall, and they're still wearing their armored crew jumpers, and looking a little rough, right? A little dirty, a little bloody. They're not grievously injured, so I'm gonna, right? They've patched up in the sense that they are not going to hurt them, lose any more hit points. No one's in danger here. But they don't look great. So and all of their belongings are probably on board ship. I think these guys probably were going the economy route, not booking a hotel, right, and doing all of their work out of the ship every night. Which would be, common, I think, on especially a lower grade starport like this. This is a Class D by traveler standards. Almost a Class E, but it's not just a landing. It's like a couple landing pads, a couple fueling stations. Everything else has been scrapped or moved over to the other starport on the other side of the planet to help repair that and get that up and running. So I think these guys probably sleep on their ship. They probably left all their belongings there. I think they're going to probably go a quick stop in a couple shops, spend $100 a piece, get themselves at least new enough clothes, and then probably a meal at a cafe. Now, this is my cafe picture. Obviously, it doesn't look like this. Keep in mind, the atmosphere's thin and noxious, so I don't think there'd be much outdoor seating. Maybe that's this place's thing. Let's do that. Maybe that's this place's gig, right? Their gig is they have maybe a transparent pressure bubble kind of thing over, and you can see the stars. So it's the Starlight Cafe on Vesper, Dustside. So I think they're sort of chatting with each other, trying to figure out what the hell are we going to do, right? And I did think about this. How are you getting your ship off of this thing? There's probably a couple ways. So I did write a couple ideas here. They can go in blasting, right? I mean, we have explosives. We don't own explosives, but we might be able to use Streetwise to buy a couple. And right, we would smash through the gate using explosives on our rental truck here, sort of assault the ship, try to overwhelm the guards quickly and get access. Now, there's a couple problems with that. One problem is these towers probably have, I'm going to say, like light machine gun. So here's the quote unquote map of the port, which they would be able to recon the port pretty well. It's not to scale, but I think it does a good enough job. So even if you breached the gate up here, I'm going to posit that these towers have spotlights and possibly maybe a light machine gun or something. You would take at least a round of fire in your truck to get up here. And that's fine. One round, maybe you probably live, but you know, someone could get winged and killed. But you might make it. So you make it, and then you got these two guys, and if these two guys don't immediately stand down, which I find unlikely, then you're probably exchanging fire with these yahoos as well. And it just feels to me that you're going to end up harming someone or killing them, right? Which is, I mean, that's going to be highly illegal. You are never coming back here. If you sneak and get your ship and go, you might be okay returning at a later date if you can get the ship under some other government's flag. But if you killed a couple security guards on your way out, I'll bet you they just put your ass in jail when you return, even if you're under whatever, flying under the auspices of the Three Sisters or Callus or the you know, whatever polity that you take flag, get your letters of marque from. I think the Vesporans go, yeah, you're wanted for murder, so we're gonna just put you in jail. So I don't love this option. Like, this is my least favorite option. It's interesting to note that the stealth devolves into this if we fail. Right? So stealth would be the next one. We have a guy with stealth 4. That's a lot of stealth. Like, he is literally going to be able to slip. I mean, I guarantee you he could probably slip in there. We need to check the fence to make sure there's no sensors. I don't know if there are or not. We would have to make a roll. If there's no sensors, we cut the fence. There's a couple good spots for this. I would say that, having looked at this this thing here, I would argue this is a great spot to sort of cut the fence. That is mostly hidden from the view of the towers. It's a shitty spot to then walk across all this land here to have to get to your ship. And I would think that you'd probably break in here, try to see if you could access this building. You know, right? You'd have to suffer this tower once, I think, for sure. And maybe this tower once. Right? These guys once, these guys again. Get access to this building. Get yourself some kind of uniform or a clipboard or whatever, right? And then you could probably walk the walk to your ship, maybe. Second option would be to break in here. This is a little more exposed to the towers, but you do have a little bit of better access to the ship, right? You could just literally do an end around and try to get to your ship there. In which case, the goal would be to time these lights such that, you know, they're not looking at you. And keep in mind, these lights are probably looking out and in a little bit. But in probably mostly. So we sneak around. You would have to quickly subdue these guards. Get the drop on them. And, you know, get them to cover them, right, with your guns. Get them to surrender. Then you probably get access to the ship, and hopefully can find a way to disable these guys and make them sort of useless for the starting a ship from a hot start, which is what this would be 3 minutes or 30 minutes probably. So we would probably want to ideally do the 3-minute hot start. That's a cold start time. A hot start time would be, ideally you'd want to do the 3-minute one. You want to be up and off before anyone noticed those guards aren't standing there. Otherwise, you're taking 30 minutes, in which case I would almost say you probably knock those guards out, take their uniforms, have two of your guys stand outside as guards for the 30 minutes. And then you only release the two guards. Like, you don't want to take those guys into space with you. You probably release them immediately and go, look, you better get off you better get off the damn landing pad. We're going to be taking off here in like a minute. So good luck. Don't get burned by the superheated fusion thrust or whatever, right? And you give them time to get clear and get away. I think that's okay. There's probably a couple rolls though that you make, and that's probably there's still a good chance of failure because you're probably still making 2 or 3 or 4 stealth checks. Even at a 4 skill, at some point you fail. Like, you make enough rolls, you fail one. Trickery. I'm not sure exactly how we start this process. Presumably someone has to unlock the ship for the Vesporans. That's probably a third-party contractor. Could you waylay the third-party contractor and then come in with their passes, get access to your ship that way? That would be the... But that would require you to... that would require a little bit of doing, I think, from our current location. We would either need to, get our computer plugged onto, the network, the internet, maybe hack the work records, which you could, but our computing's not that good. I think we have a 1, maybe a +2, because it's, could be education based. Although I would almost argue hacking is probably int based versus education based, just because it's more on the fly kind of a thing than it is just. And our computer guy is only a 1. Like, all of our skills are mostly only 1, so we're not that good at anything. We're okay at a lot of things. We're journeymen in a lot of things, but we are not experts. So we don't have an expert hacker to go in. I don't imagine that the work orders, like, we could probably get access to the form, and we might even be able to submit a work order. So I think that one is a little low for me because I'm not 1,000% sure. The other thing you might be able to do is you might be able to admin, right? You might be able to use admin, maybe streetwise. Admin to figure out who does the work typically. And then maybe just bribe them and go, well, you're gonna get $500 to unlock the ship. We'll give you 10,000 if you let us waylay you on the way to unlocking the ship. And you can say that you were, jumped, knocked out, whatever. We came in, took your van, drove in with the work order, blah, 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 right? And got aboard the ship. The other one, because of distraction, that would be effectively a variant of stealth. Cause a big noise, boom, and then when you're doing that, so I hate to say, I would probably go for the fuel tanks on the south side. So stealth in, plant some explosives. That's liquid hydrogen. So you just want to breach the thing, and then that's a big boom though. Yes, holy shit, that's a big boom. It's not like explosive in the sense that I think the pressure, that liquid hydrogen quickly, if you as it vaporizes and the pressure is released and it becomes gaseous hydrogen, I think, it's like if you shot a propane tank, right? That thing's going to just go, you're going to have a big boom, and then that thing's going to go, and that's going to suck. So that one has a little bit of go in blasting and stealth. You are less likely to have hurt someone, but you might. It would be a random chance. If someone's just too close to those, that's going to suck. And it could be that those two guards in the southern ship are by definition. No, they probably actually have, maybe you blow up this one. I mean, you would take out probably half of this building. And you might, and maybe this tower might be like, I think you probably have a decent chance of harming someone, which I do think puts you in that same first category of, maybe you shouldn't come back ever for under any reason, any purpose. I think it is. I don't know that it's any more effective than stealth, to be quite honest with you. Because once those tanks blow up, I don't know that the guard, right? Certainly you're going to have fire crews or emergency crews showing up, police. So maybe distraction's just not a good way to go here. Sign on board with Vesper. If you can't beat him, join him. I think that just doesn't sit right with our guys. I don't think Lars wants to join. So Lars is the native. He is a Vesporan native, but he was in the Imperial military. And we know that somewhere in his back history, he was captured by a rebel force and mistreated, i.e. probably tortured. I'm going to say that indeed he was captured and tortured here. And I know that it was back in his history where that happened, but we're going to make that later in his history. And he was obviously at some point set free, but that's when he decided, I'm going to sign on with a ship's crew and get out of Dodge because he is resentful and does not, once off the planet, resentful. And he was probably mistreated because he was a native Vesporan. I imagine Vesporans and everyone in this Northeast has a bit of an accent of some sort. They speak Imperial with an accent. And Sundarin. So I do believe that Sundarin is a language, and that there are a bunch of related languages up, the Northeast might have Vesporan, the Volan in the Southeast have a language, the Anterans in the Northwest probably have a variation of Sundarin as a language, just because remember that these people, if you watched any of the pre-games, these folks came out here in the second wave of expansion, like before the Empire even existed. These people were out here colonizing this area, and they culturally then diverged from Imperial, quote unquote. So when the Empire formed and then started to expand, these people were very resentful. They had different, right? And part of that is that different language and so on. So I'm going to say that Lance speaks Imperial and Vesporan for sure. But he's resentful and wants out, wants off the planet. So I think working for the Vesporans just rubs him the wrong way. So someone's like, at the cafe, right? Maybe Thomas is like, so we could join him. And Lars like, no, right? He slammed his fist down. All right, man. All right, right. I mean, and that was just an off, like Tom. I don't think Thomas even meant it. He was almost joking. But I think the anger in Lars's eyes, cause everybody to, right? They look around because people are starting to look at them. They don't want to draw any eyes either, because the problem is that's one of the reasons. So that luckily they have a bag of cash with them, because if they started using any banking to indicate they were on planet, they probably get detained until they get until they turn over the ship codes to the port authority. They probably get detained, so they're not going to book a hotel because you're going to show ID. They're not going to pay. They're paying with bill. Fortunately, imperial currency is still taken. The Vesporans have not yet. They're not minting their own currency as of yet. But that is being hotly debated. So I think sign on with Vesper's a non-starter. I think trickery, we might be able to. Trickery and probably bribery is probably the way to go. Right? It's probably the way to go. If you offered someone, like how much an annual salary, like a monthly salary for a Marine on a spaceship, I think it's $1,000. I think that's the monthly salary for a Marine. Now, not for like the pilot or something. Pilots are specialized, blah blah blah, right? But just a grunt. Jane on the Firefly was making $1,000 a month, according to the Traveler book here. So you offer someone $10,000. That's got to be a fair bit. It's got to be a fair bit of cash to one of these local shipbreakers, right? The locksmiths, effectively. And now the problem there is that it's very possible that this guy doesn't want to go for it, and then he will probably turn your ass in. So you got to be a little bit careful. I think it's trickery or stealth, guys. I think that's sort of where my head is. Trickery or stealth. So I'm gonna roll. I think our admin Thomas and the guys with persuasion. We have a couple guys with persuasion. I think Lars is for stealth because he's like, nah, I can get us in there. I can absolutely do it. I need you to check the fence for me, right? But I can get us in. So I think it's 50-50 on there, trickery or stealth. Let's roll 1 to 6. We're going to go with the trickery route. 10. We're going to go stealth, guys. So stealth it is. So I think, do we need anything for stealth before we start? I'm sorry, I'm turned away from the camera because I'm looking for my my book here. I was thinking something like a smoke. So we don't have a lot of crap here. Maybe something like a smoke grenade, right? And that's our 5 times markup on. So we would have to. You would use Streetwise to find these. Um, maybe a stun grenade or a couple stun grenades in case we need to incapacitate the 2 guards. Just toss 2 of those bad boys and go, right? Keep in mind everyone has respirators outside, so gas won't work. I think smoke would be good, and or thermal smoke, right? That's probably and you might be able to cheat on that. You might go and just buy like, I don't know, like 100 bug bombs or something. Like go to external. So let's go and see if we can find any of this crap. Let's go look for. So we're going to look for smoke grenades. Maybe a stun grenade. Stun grenades. But that's going to take a streetwise roll, and then we're going to have to roll for availability. So that's all. So the other thing is that's also going to. So the other danger. Keep this in mind. That is also going to take time. Who do we want to take the time? Remember, we left Devin Galloway knocked out in, zip tied in his office. And we stole 19,000 credits from this guy. So I would argue that that means that every day. So there's two things that we have to worry about every single day. One is that Galloway calls, the cops on us, which he will. At some point, I think my guess is he is pissed enough, and he knows that he has the upper hand. He's a Vesporan local. We are vagabond ship travelers, right? Maybe he even gets a reward for turning us in. So I definitely think that he's going to call as soon as possible, and I don't think it's going to take long for the coppers to know that we're heading for the dust side, the starport. So that might preclude anything. I will allow one streetwise roll. I have a 0. That's not good. I have a nothing. That ain't good. Streetwise of 1, Lars. Oh, and he's a local. Oh, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a bonus there. I'm going to give him a +1. He's local. So I'm going to give him a +2 total. 1 because of his skill, 1 because of local. Does he know of someone that might sell us a couple non-lethal weapons to utilize here? This is +2. We're looking for an 8 or above, but we do get a +2 on it. We get a 9, 10, 11. So that means it's an effect of 3. What's the availability of said weapons? So Lars, right? He's a military guy. He knows a couple shady sort of gun stores that operate in the dust side town. Probably 1 or 2 of them have, and they're ostensibly they'd go through checks and balances, and the guns are all right? It's a gun store. There's laws. They do the check. The law level, I don't even know what the law level of any of these planets are. It's about the same. It's imperial law level. It was what it was. But what could you get away with Vesper right now? Probably a fair bit, right? I mean, but they're probably trying to lock down their control, so they probably don't want randos buying guns on planets. So I'm going to say that generally, rifles and even sidearms are frowned upon, but you can get a pass to carry a sidearm, but rifles would be definitely verboten, and we had to sneak ours out effectively to carry with us to the scav fight, which is why we didn't have 2 of them or the entire ship's locker emptied. So he knows a couple of these weapon stores, and he can get us, he can get us in today. He knows the guy. So he knows a guy. So give me a moment. I'm going to write down in my game notes. So yeah, he knows a guy, Morton. Oh yeah. Yeah, he's even my buddy. We did, we actually did some training together, but he washed out early and started the dealership. Right. So they were buddies maybe back in basic or something like that. So he knows him. He's fairly friendly with them. It's really a question now of availability. And I'm going to be fairly random with that, I think. I think we're just going to go. I mean, none of this is super hardware. I think what we're going to look for is, what we're going to look for is a stunner. That's going to be a little rough. That's a $5,000 gun. It's an energy weapon, which sort of sucks. I would say the availability of a stunner is not availability of energy weapons is generally a little harder. So let's see, does he have a stunner? I'm going to say 10 or above on a 2 dice. Sure, he does. He actually has one. So we could buy a stunner if we wanted. Now I have to write up a stunner, by the way. In my Traveler guns. I never really thought that would be a thing that we would have access to. So yeah, stunner. The range DMs on stunners would be, I think it would be pistol range. They're going to be shorter range weapons for sure. Yeah, 10 meters. So similar to a pistol. I'm not going to give them a +1 range at all. That's going to be a dash. And we're going to say that their base range is the 5 to 10 meters. And they quickly fall off, right? So from 0 to 5 hexes, it's a 0. Out to 10 hexes, it's a -2. And then out to 15 hexes, they really fall off. All right, let's give them 20 just to be kind here. They really fall off. The damage is 3 dice, like normal. It doesn't have a mass. That's silly. It has a mass of, we'll say 2 kilograms. Cost is 5,000 here. The magazine is 100, which I sort of hate, but okay. And the cost is 200. And it's stun in 0G. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm doing this on camera. I don't like the energy weapons have a magazine of 100 thing. I think that's a goofy amount. Again, I don't think we need any more reason for energy weapons to be the weapon of choice. Always, which they should be in the base Traveler rules, unless you're wearing reflect, unless the GM throws reflect and ablat on you all day. Let's say the magazine is 20. The mag cost will still be 200. Heck with it, right? Because, and let's call this who makes this? A Castle. Castle Defense Systems. So CDS. CDS. Yeah, CDS, we'll just call it a stunner. And it's their Model 1. That's what he has for us, a Model 1 stunner. You'd have to get up close on him. But if you can get up close on him, done. 5,000, don't know if it's worth it, but we can definitely, maybe. Does he have grenades? So the smoke grenades, I'm going to say 8 or above. That's an easier one. Oops, I don't know what I just did there. No smoke. Stun? No stun grenades. No grenades. Damn it. That is not good. I wanted some smoke grenades to cover my approach if anything went awry. to cover my approach from these guys up here. So I'm not a big fan that we don't have any of that at all. Does he have any explosives, any gunpowder, any? I mean, we'll say that he has something for us on a 9. There you go, on a 9. So he does have some explosive, just outright materials. And can our explosives guy, so what you got, right? And so he goes over the chemicals and so on. Can he effectively make a smoke canister or two if we buy? So who's our explosives guy? I'm looking here. I swear to you, someone had explosives. He does. Zach has explosives. Explosives and edu. So +2. So we're gonna roll 4, 5, 6. No, he cannot. So this was a bust, actually, to be quite honest with you. Do we pick up the stunner? Yes, we pick up the stunner. We pick up the stunner because we're gonna pick up that damn stunner because simple fact of the matter is, if we had to disable those 2 guys, even if we get up close to them because we're wearing some kind of maintenance uniform or something, we're gonna have to disable these 2 guys because they're gonna be like, well, what are you touching the ship for? Get back off, kind of thing, right? So we might have to stun one, pull guns on the other one, that kind of thing, right? And quickly disable those guards. So I think that's what we're gonna buy. We're gonna buy the stunner. We've spent $54.40 out of our 69,000 right now. And we're going to be taking off with an empty cargo hold. But I'm going to say a full fuel tank. I'm going to give us that much. But man, that sucks. I suppose... All right. I think that's where that's what we're gonna go for. I think we're going for that. And I think it's stealth. We have the stunner. No one is any good at it. All my gun combats, I pick slug weapon. So it would be literally who has the best dex, because we have gun combat, energy weapon. Would be, and then Dex would be the other thing. I think Dex is Parker. Parker's going to carry the stunner. Because he gets a +1 because of Dex. And I think the advantage to the stealth is that we don't have to spend any days. Like, there's no chance that the cops are looking for us yet. No chance that they actually break the ships, because we're not taking any time. It is that night. So literally they go from the gun shop. It is probably mid to late afternoon at that point in time. And they're going to drive the truck out and find themselves a spot to surveil the starport, and that would either be hills to the south or maybe something to the north. Which side should they attack with their stealthiness? The top is so much easier to get to, I think. I think we have to go north. I think we have to go north. So I think the group will probably be... that is too blue for me. I don't like that at all. Right, there's a little bit of a gradient here even. Maybe that plays up into this. So we're going to try to start up here. We'll find some cover. Hopefully there's some rocks or something. Some boulders. And our boys, this is not to scale. I'm gonna keep saying that because and our guys are up there. I think we can get up there. The truck, though, we'll have to hoof it. Otherwise, I don't know that we can actually drive the truck up this way. It's just a truck. It's a rental truck, right? Is it going to make it up the dunes? I don't know that we even want it to, but we might as well keep our options open. So we're going to make a drive check. Our drive is 0 plus. So if you can make a drive check, we could get the truck up. So I suppose, sure. We're going to also have Bessie up here. And I suppose potentially maybe that is the case that maybe these trucks are sort of off-roady a little bit because this on this side of the world, it's all desert. There you go. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to group it. It is now a truck. It's now a truck. It's Bessie. There you go. Okay. So we are going to be up here. We're going to surveil. There you go. I think I did buy binoculars for us and communicators and tools. So we do have a pair of binoculars. So we are going to utilize those. But it is getting dark. So we're going to try to surveil ahead of just quickly as possible. And I'm going to have our guy, Parker, probably. He has electronic sensors. We're going to see, and he's going to check. How advanced is this fence? Is it literally a chain link fence? Does it have some kind of sensors or some kind of detection apparatus on it? Parker's going to look. He gets a +2, I think. Yeah, this is a 13. I'm going to say this is Class D starport. I'm going to roll a D12. On a 10, 11, or 12, there is something on the fence that you might have to deal with. 1 to 9, there isn't. Barbed wire is most of it. No, 8. So Parker is absolutely, he sees nothing. No sensors, no, no boxes that you might have on an electric fence. Nothing of that nature. There's barbed wire along the top of it. Right, there's the razor wire on top. There is sort of barbed wire around the bottom, coiled to keep you away and to slow you down. But that's not going to stop sort of Lars from being able to make that breach. I mean, he might get spotted, but so he is so we're going to wait until night. We will have I would like to make, I'm gonna retro make one more purchase from the gun store, and that is to buy another rifle, another Iron Forge. So we are going to buy one more rifle so that someone else can have an Iron Forge rifle on their person. That might Parker's carrying everything. That's probably not ideal. I don't want to give it to Thomas. He stinks. I'll give it to Zach at the just because. So he also has an Iron Forge 8mm. I hate buying a gun, an extra gun here. And we'll buy 4 magazines. So the Iron Forge is going to cost $3,500. Let's buy him 5 magazines. So, and then 5 mags. So that is 75. For the stunner, we'll buy 2 mags at a cost of 400. I mean, that's starting to add up. That's starting to add up. This is not a milk run. This is a spoilt milk run. And the reason being, very simply, if we have an issue, I am going to blaze away maybe at the spotlights. And that might act to suppress the fire from maybe a light machine gun, and B, might put out the spotlight, which could be a useful thing. So we're gonna send Zach down first. So not Zach. Zach's gonna be poached right up here. Lars is going, Parker and Thomas up here. Again, not to scale. Keep that in mind. Lars is going to maneuver down first before anything else. And it'll be his job to breach the fence. Make a big enough hole, cut open the wire, right, so that we can safely get in. And where do we do that? God, I don't know. I think we really need some line of sight. Oops, that's not a thing. Let's line of sight this shit. The main problem is these guys technically can spot us even over there as we work the fence. Once you get in, that's different. Like, they can't see us as soon as we get in, and you get behind these fuel tanks, they cannot see you. These guys can barely see us there. I mean, you know, right? So I think the best place to make the breach is on this side of the fuel tanks. That will protect us from this tower, the west tower. So we're going to put the breach here in the fence, hopefully. We're going to attack the fence here. And Lars will do it. And Lars has to make a stealth check. Let's make a stealth check for Lars. Lars has stealth 4. So he's real good at this. He has done this. This was his speciality in when he was a ground pounder. So let's see what we got here. We add 4 to that. His effect is +4. I will roll for the tower there, giving them effectively a minus, and they're not going to spot him. So I'm going to let him cut this breach in the fence. So he has just literally, you know, mechanical snips and so, right, just nothing special. He just cuts the razor. He's big, thick gloves, cuts the razor wire, does all the things he needs to do to make effectively a hole in the fence for the rest of the team to get down. Now, these guys are not looking out into the desert, right? They focus on the fence and inside more than out here. So up to the fence, I'm not super worried about our team. But we are indeed going to have to make some kind of check, right? Lars will guide them in. Right? He'll give them a go now, run, right? He'll give them a thing and get down, right? He's going to guide them in, timing these lights from these two towers. So I'm going to give Lars a roll, and he will add effectively his, it's like a skill chain. He's going to add his stealth check to theirs. Lars gets an 11 plus 4. So his total stealth check is a 15. So he's timed these gates, these lights now. So he's a 15. That is 7 effect. So that is a plus 7. We're going to give everybody else's crappy stealth check. Which is good because we have a stealth. We got a guy who doesn't have stealth. So Parker is 7 plus 2 for himself is a 9 plus 7 is 16. He's fine. He's going to make it and get through the fence. No trouble. Zach has stealth of 0. He gets an 8 plus 7 is right. He is through the fence. No trouble. Thomas does not have stealth. He gets a -3. He's, right, bouncing around, carrying crap. He is the closest to a civilian on my team. So he rolls stealth. -3 is a 6. Plus 7 is a 13. So he succeeds with an effect of 6 because of Lars guiding him in. I'm going to give a tower a check, though. But I'm giving them a -6. 11, but -6 is going to be a 5 plus, plus their bonus for like 1 or whatever. So yeah, he's going to make it in also. So I think the team has at least made it in without being spotted by the lights. At this point, at this point, do we get, how lucky are we going to get in terms of can we breach this building without having to go, say, to the front? Because you know where the door is on this guy, right? The door on this guy is out front, probably. Is there a window they can get in? A vent, right? An air purifier unit or something on the back. We're going to roll just a plain old Oracle here. And I'm going to give it for security's sake, I'm going to say that only on a 1 to 4 do we find some unit on the back that we can use to either a window or some kind of, not duct, but you know what I mean? Like, right, a grate that leads to no, there's nothing on the back side. There is windows. Are there windows on the side? I'll give that 50-50. Yes, there's a window on the side. I don't know. That sounds unsafe to me. That sounds unsafe to me. Now, if I had smoke, I would truly, truly consider. So I think we have two options. We try the building. That's going to expose us to a lot of viewing action here. Right? I think we make a run for it. Just like this. I think with Lars in front, there's going to be open space here, and that's dangerous, and that's what you have to time. You have to time that open space. much like there's open space here that you had to time, right? So I think we have to time this open space. And I think it's Lars and Parker are going to be the first to go. And the reason is Parker has the stunner. Lars is sort of commando guys, right? So if they can get, let's say they make a break for it and they can get to here and like that, right? So if they can sneak from here to here, back behind the ship, and then maybe come up under or whatever, right? They can then use stealth, hopefully get the drop on these two, and hopefully you don't even need to fire the stunner, because that probably is not a quiet, I imagine some kind of electrical flare, which may or may not be visible from that distance of the tower, but let's any gunfight or whatever is going to immediately draw attention. Let's not do that. But if you come up behind these guys, stick guns to their temples or to the backs of their heads and go, "Hey boys, don't touch those guns and touch those communicators," right? Done and done. The danger is failing this, and if you fail this, then you might be in trouble. Who's carrying the rifle? I think Zach is, right? Zach's carrying the other rifle. Yes. So Zach is going to aim. He's going to sit there and he's just going to aim. Sort of park himself, right where he mostly has cover from the spotlight. Thomas will be back a little further, but he's going to aim and just take aim up onto that where that spotlight is, so that if anything goes awry, he's going to start laying fire into that spotlight. Lars and Parker are going to go. Lars is sort of running the show here. He's going to help us time the the spotlight. He's going to get a 6, not as great, but he does have a +4, so that's a 10. So he is going to make it. Parker is just stealthy enough, and so they are going to make it up to here with no issue necessarily. The last question then from that perspective is, can they get the drop on these two? I don't think we risk the other two unstealthy folks coming. I think Lars is going to head up. Parker's going to head up. They're going to make stealth checks to surprise the two guards. This is straight up just 2 checks. If we make both checks, I think, frankly, these guards are of, average watchfulness, as it were. They're not expecting trouble tonight. So Lars makes it up fairly easily with a 14. Parker makes it with a 10, so not terrible. So effect of 2 is the worst we've done. I'm going to roll for the guard. No. Yeah. So that guard is not yeah. So the guards aren't aware. Let's make I'm sorry, that was an old man twitch. Unfortunately, every so often my and if you've ever watched me play Fallout or whatever, just every so often, and it's like bam, you're like, oh god, what are you doing? I'm sorry. Like, that's why I actually probably can't carry a gun. I would finger would have to be way off that trigger. I would plexico myself. So I'm going to say that Lars and Parker get the drop on these dudes. And wow, let's do we make them make a gun combat check to cover them? They sneak up behind. Sure, let's roll for our guy Lars here. He fails. I don't know what that even means. So I'm again, right? But Parker will at least succeed. So I think, yeah, I didn't like that last skill check. That was one too far, I think, for the success of that. But let's interpret it in any case. So Lars and Parker come up behind these guys. Eva 3, 4, 5. Because of his skill, even, right? Do they get any bonus for getting a drop? Don't know. 6, 7. He doesn't convince them, right? Parker, like Lars stands back and is like, don't move. Parker is up, and he literally puts the gun to the back of the one dude's head. I will at least give this guy a roll to see how dumb, brave, whatever you want to say this guy is tonight. And this is just a lucky, I'm almost nothing else. This is luck more than anything else for us. It's simply, what's this guy's initial reaction to these dudes appearing out of nowhere with guns pointed at them, and Parker literally has the gun, up against the guy in an uncomfortable way. I'm going to say that low is better for the group, and we get a 5. So he hesitates. The guard is uncertain. I think this guard is momentarily subdued, so we're not going to worry about him. This guy turns. He starts to reach for his stuff, and he starts to reach for his communicator. Parker is going to persuade him and say, "Look, pal, you might make it, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to spray our ship here with your buddy's brains, and I'd rather not do that because I don't want to clean that crap off." So we'll give him persuade and int. He doesn't persuade him. Does not persuade him. This guy grabs for his communicator. I still don't think, even though Lars does not love these dudes, I don't think he wants to, he's not going to, like I said, we don't want to kill these guys because I think that's a bad scene. I think that will, we don't want to hurt anybody, really, if we can help it. Yeah, we don't want to be, that's not what we're trying to that's not what we're trying to do here, folks. So I think Lars is like, "Oh, you're so stupid," and he's going to smash this dude with the butt of the gun. He does have melee. He has strength. He does hit him. And I'm going to say, so I'm going to say this. So he's smashed with the butt of the gun. And the guy holds his nose and sort of takes 2 steps back. Then Lars will get the gun down, put the no, he will sort of loop it around this guy. And maybe try to choke him out. So another melee skill roll. I think he will grab him. And then let's call that there, right? So he grabs him. He's got the guy by the neck. Parker's like telling his guy, don't move, be quiet. And this guy falls unconscious. Does anyone see that? I'm going to say that it is highly unlikely that that was viewed by anyone else. On a roll of a 1 or 2, there you go. 5. No, we are good for now. So let's see, what do these guys do? So we have a couple options here. My main concern is now getting the less stealthy folks down here. We could either make the check, or let's assume, so let's be like, you know, Parker's like, gonna keep him subdued. Probably you're gonna have to knock these guys out. I think we're gonna knock them out. So we're gonna knock him out, right? So he's also gonna be unconscious. And then I think we're gonna toss them over here, strip them down real quick. Strip them down real quick. Keep them off of the danger zone. I don't want to kill them as I lift off, effectively. We're assuming I'm gonna lift off. We're making a big assumption. So we're gonna strip them down real quick. Toss the bodies, you know, off of the thing there. And I'm gonna have Lars make a stealth check to sneak the uniforms back to Zach and Thomas. Zach and Thomas will put them over, right? Whatever they have. Quick change to look like guards, and that way we can say that even if they get spotted, so stealth roll for our guy is a 12. I think that's probably okay. These guys will get into guard uniforms. So Lars has to make the skill check, and he's going to, strangely enough, blow his stealth. He, of all the people, is going to blow the stealth check. Which is funny. Again, it's one of those things where you go, well, even on a 4, he succeeds. So a 3 or less. But that is going to happen enough times. So he is spotted. So I think there's an awkward moment where that spotlight catches him. What do we have? Zach and Thomas. So the spotlight's there, and it's super awkward. And and Lars, I think, is almost surprised because he's like, well, that's not the timing. I had the timing down. They must have heard something or, right, spotted something. Thomas appears behind Zach. Or behind Lars. Zach also sort of steps out of the right, follow my lead, and Zach and Thomas on either side of Lars, and they grab each of his arms. And then Thomas sort of, waves to the guards. Remember, he has a guard uniform on, and pulls his communicator out as though he's calling it in. And that'll be deception. And those guards are not quite sure if they buy it. Those guards are not sure that they buy this, right? So the spotlight's on them. Stays on them. The guys are like, we can't walk him to the ship. And so Thomas is going to call it in, quote unquote, but he's calling in to Parker. He's like, Parker, are you in yet? Parker's like, yeah, I'm in. We're in trouble out here. They've spotted us. So what does the team do? I am going to, let's see, what are we going to do? What does Parker do? I mean, Parker has the basic engineering. He's the jump drive guy. He does have the basic engineering generally, and he is a well-studied individual. If we pull the primer up, starting us in 3 minutes, that's a rough haul. That is, that's a 10. That would be a power, right? A power check, power plant. We have engineering 0 on the power plant. We'd get a +1. Not great. Let me read Jack of all trades too. So I think what Parker is going to do, as I paused and went and got a cup of coffee and thought about it, Parker's going to start the procedure. So he's going to start the hot start procedure because the ship is ready. Like, he's starting to fire up all the stuff. He's going to fire the engines, right? It's going to be right. So I think that theoretically gives a distraction, and I think it will. I think he fires those engines. The spotlight turns to see what the hell's going on. Is there anybody down there? Blah, blah, blah. What's happening? And then these guys make a break for it. Now, so I think that's going to give us the chance to get all our guys on board the ship. What that's going to lose us is, based on the hot start time, that is going to potentially cause us a little bit of trouble trying to get out into orbit, right? Because these guys could call for help. These guys could say, hey, we've got a runner. Presumably these planets have air forces. That's the a fighter there is the equivalent, of a fighter, and is going to have some weapons that could deal damage to a starship. So we may not get off out of orbit here if we can't do something. I think as soon as they get on board the ship, immediately everyone's universe changes, and they sit down. The Parker's like flipping switches and so on. Now let's see if he. We don't have an M drive guy, which sort of sucks. We have a power plant guy. So Thomas goes immediately down to engineering, and he is going to now run the hot start procedure. And that is, he's at a +3 to do that. So we're going to give him a check, +3, but it's against a difficulty of 10. 6. He cannot hot start us in 3 minutes. He cannot have us off the ground in 3. He's like, no, there's no way There's no way possibly we can get this going. The power plant, right? I need to, whatever. They're doing the hot start procedure, and no. The main coolant line has sprung, right? Is having some problems. I need to readjust that pump. How long is that going to take? Zach is sort of the de facto captain. As I said in the combat test, he's run through the simulator. He's never actually captained a starship for real. He just scored well on the simulation test, Microsoft Flight Sim. Which is ridiculous, but yeah, which is funny. We're doing that, but anyway, how long is that going to take? And he's like, probably another 5 or 10 minutes. So he succeeded on he can get us 10 minutes, but he can't get us the 3 minutes. So Zach is immediately talking to, shit, it's Thomas again, isn't it? Do we have, we have an electronic sensor to Parker. He's like, Parker, I need run ECM. Let's jam their comms. So Parker is going to run the ECM suite. And we're going to flood the channel with noise here and hope to, although it might have to be Zach doing it. So we're going to have Zach do that. Zach is going to hopefully utilize our extensive ECM suite to lock down the comms here. I don't know how plausible that might be. We have electronics comms. We have another +1. I'm going to say difficulty of 10, though. No, can't do it. And he's like, no, we can't do it. They're on a, right? Their suite is not actually made to do that. Their suite is made, their ECM suite is made to essentially blur their own signature, fuzz it out, and so on. They do not have the ability to jam communications remotely like that. So can't do it. And that's going to mean that these guys at the base here are going to be able to call out and essentially indicate the ship's locked down. No one's getting in here. And I don't know, I mean, there probably are now security sort of pouring out into the place, and these guards might be heading over or whatever. I don't think it's going to matter. Let me roll a 1d12. I do have sort of, and I think, but maybe only on a 1 do I actually care to think about craziness. No, I don't think anything, they don't have anything they can utilize. The administrator of the starport is asleep at his house, so they're not going to get to him, call him in time, for, right? And I think that the Badger is going to be able to take and lift off, and with the caveat that these guys have probably called out, and probably there is at least some chance, we'll have to check and see, there is some chance that they're going to have some problems getting out of orbit to the 100 diameter jump distance. Obviously, I think we will be astrogating immediately to try to calculate jump as far as we can, as much as we can to pre-plot that. But I think the Badger lifts off and takes off and jets into the sky. And we'll see next time, because it's been over an hour, quite a bit over an hour. We'll see next time if they can actually turn that into an escape, or whether they'll get intercepted by, you know, an air base or by ships that are in orbit. We'll have to go look at the roster of ships that Vesper has and where those ships are, and see if there's anything that can intercept them. But we're going to do that next time. Thank you for watching and listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment on this video, because, you know, we want to share the love here a little bit. So do the YouTube things. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you very much, everybody, and I will see you on the next one.